is a triple-double machine. In this game, 24 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. So he's the fourth player in NBA history with 40 triple-doubles after turning 30 years old. Reminder, Westbrook just turned 31 in November. So pretty solid game there. We'll see more from him later, but first we got to get to the chippiness. Second quarter, Suns down 8. Dario Saric to Devin Booker. Booker nailing that three. He had 35 points, 5 assists, and decided the aforementioned chippiness. Fourth quarter, Rockets up 5. James Harden steals that one from Ty Jerome, fouled by Booker. Let's just calmly, rationally discuss this over some tea and crumpets, shall we?
Okay.
Technicals for everyone. You get a technical and you get a technical. It was like Oprah was there handing out a few of her favorite things.
Sure.
Right? 1 minute later, Rockets up 5. Harden 3 over Kelly Oubre Jr. You would. 34.6 rebounds. Rockets up 8. Westbrook says he is still adjusting to his new team. If the adjustment's going like this, I think the Rockets are going to be just fine. 115-109. The Rockets win.
You heard Nicole mention, let's just make this a movie now. What has stood out the most about, nobody calls him that, but he throws down a Norvell Pell. Hey, he might be due for a nickname as he keeps dunking like that.
Grizzlies and Jazz. Donovan Mitchell threw it to Rudy Gobert. Set up the screen. Alley-oop from Donovan Mitchell. Gobert. There we go. 19 points, 11 rebounds. Thing of beauty. Good enough for the mixtape.
All right, what about the best rejections? And it's Clint Capella rotating over. Help side. Strong side. On Devin Booker. And then the wave after the fact, like, no, man. Whatever that was you're selling, you got to go next door.
How about dimes? La Luca. He had 9 of these. Right pass. And then gives it to Dwight Powell, who, I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to get the ball in that way, you have to finish responsibly.
All right, how about Ben Simmons, one of the most gifted passers in the league, to Tobias Harris. This was like right on, if the rim had a doormat, like a welcome mat, it was right there. And
then wait, range?
Sure.
Are we kidding with this?
No.
Oh my God, Ben Simmons! They told him you need to take a 3 a game.
Just one.
Just one. That's his second career three-pointer.
You'd have to keep me from shooting threes.
He had 34 points and 7 assists. That just happened.
All right, half-hour headlines. 3, 2, 1. Half-hour headlines Sunday morning. An ode to be a fly on the wall at House Briscoe last night, where the Badgers gave the Buckeyes all they could handle for a little bit.
Normally melty cheese is good, but my cheese is a little melty and sad this morning because I thought there was a chance. I mean, the Badgers were up 21-7 at half and then 27 unanswered from Ohio State. Justin Fields, 3 touchdown passes. J.K. Dobbins, 172 yards rushing and a score. It is the 3rd straight Big Ten title for the Buckeyes and a 3rd straight win over a ranked opponent. Go ahead and read between the lines there. Ryan Day says his team has done enough to be number 1.
Okay, well, the question now becomes, does LSU have enough on its resume? Because the Tigers took care of business against the Dogs in Atlanta. Joe Burrow got Heisman chance. You can see why. 349, 4 scores. You wouldn't Gettysburg Address here. He set the SEC single-season passing touchdown record at 48. Tigers boosting a resume that now has 5 wins over an AP Top 10 team this season. That was a 27-point win. Clemson was even better against Virginia in the ACC title game. Tigers by 45. 3rd largest margin of victory in championship game history, any conference. Tigers got 302 yards, 4 passing touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence. T-Law has 3 passing touchdowns for the 9th game this season. It's the 5th straight ACC title for Clemson.
And in the best game of the day, Oklahoma over Baylor in overtime, and perhaps a slight jab thrown by Jalen Hurts. Not going to lie, kind of like it. Quote, "It's not supposed to be easy." Hurts, 325 total yards and just 1 touchdown, just because it was the first game all season. He's not had at least 3 in a game. So you put them all into the college football playoff predictor, and we asked his team if Lincoln Riley thought he had done enough, and he was like, well, I hope the committee sees the Big 12 champions. The all-state playoff predictor says that they will. The Sooners have a 55% chance of being the 4th team in the mix, and the stuff at the top, I mean, that's easy math. LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson all have a 97% chance to make it. The question is who's number 1? We'll all find out together. Noon Eastern on ESPN. We'll bond.
If Tiger Woods is watching this, it's probably from a plane. He had to get in the air pretty quickly after wrapping up the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. Headed to Australia for the President's Cup, and he'll do so off of a 4th-place finish. A 3-under final round in the Bahamas. Not enough to catch Henrik Stenson, who finished at 18 under par.
World heavyweight title. Think it. Come on.
I just want to watch sun.
All right.
I want to watch sunshine.
The world heavyweight title is back in the hands of Anthony Joshua, a unanimous decision, and it wasn't even close. I mean, the rematch against Andy Ruiz Jr., Joshua's timing was better, so was his movement. Ruiz says he didn't prepare like he should have. He also came into the fight 15 pounds heavier than the initial fight in June.
Okay, you could pick your headline in the Avalanche win over the Bruins. Colorado won 4-1 over a team in Boston that had been riding a 17-game home point streak to open the season. So now the Avs have a 14-game point streak of their own at TD Garden. Avs reaching the 40-point mark in fewer than 30 games for just the third time since they relocated to Denver in 1995. And we're not saying the Bruins let the city of Boston down, because the Patriots play in Foxborough, so you could throw that city in there in the letdown as well. Because it was the first time that the Bruins, the Celtics, or Patriots lost a home game in regulation during their respective seasons. All right, it had been 70 days since a Boston team lost a home game. September 28th, Red Sox lost to the Orioles. That's insane.
Yeah, a little bit. You weren't too excited about that as well. In college hoops, Maryland's path to getting the win over Illinois was a little bit like a toddler eating a full plate of spaghetti. Like, you know, the kind that you need like the full body smock.
Gotcha.
It was messy.
Yes.
The Fighting SVPs had been down 15, but Anthony Cowan Jr., he's your hero. Maryland by run. So Maryland, their coach called it a miracle win.
Okay.
Quote, we weren't very good, but unlike Michigan, unlike Virginia, unlike North Carolina, Maryland still won.
See, crab cakes and getting clutch buckets. That's what Maryland does. Those are your half-hour headlines.
Two 11-1 teams go head-to-head for the Big 12 Conference title. Hurts to the end zone. Caught! Possibility of a spot in the college football playoff will go to overtime. Touchdown! And Oklahoma is the Big 12 champion again!
Well, I hope the story ain't over. We're not done.
Paul and Jonathan are back with us. Look, we said this earlier. It looks like Jalen Hurts is going to be making his fourth straight appearance in the college football playoff, while Nick Saban perhaps watches from a couch or a beach. Point is, he's not there. What is your biggest takeaway when you look at Jalen's journey from Tuscaloosa to Norman?
I don't know if I've ever been around or covered a young man who has been through so many highs and lows, but who has handled it with such class.
Yes.
He never complained. He never went to the media when he lost his starting job. And he was, as a freshman, the offensive player of the year in the SEC. He led Alabama to championship games. It was just extraordinary to watch. And Jonathan, you played the game at such a high level. You rarely see something like Jalen Hurts.
Especially in this day and age where younger kids, they take to social media quickly if they don't get their way or they face adversity. And, you know, you got to credit his parents, his background, because to be that tough mentally at such a young age and that mature, you know, I would take him in a heartbeat on my team just because I know the intangibles that he has. And he's going to be a player that's going to breed excellence, right? Everywhere he's been, success. And if you have that on your team, regardless if he's a starter or not, he deserves a shot.
Do you think he's getting enough respect at this point?
As far as a player?
Just the whole package, the whole Jalen Hurts package.
I believe he does. I believe that everyone looks at him and says that he is a tremendous person. He's a very good athlete. He has to work on being more comfortable in the pocket when he's playing the quarterback position and go through his reads a little bit more. And that's very accurate. Everything about that is an accurate statement. I don't think it's underrated at all.
A lot of people yesterday said that he'll have the last laugh on Alabama. That's not Jalen Hurts. And one thing about Alabama people, they are supporting him. They're disappointed not to be in, but I think every Alabama fan that I know is pulling for Jalen Hurts, including Nick Saban.
Especially the way he handled the situation.
That's just it. It's the way you handle that excellent. All right, so hang tight for a second. We have some coaching news we want to discuss, and we'll do it through a highlight because we have the AAC championship game and this group of 5 situation with Memphis, who entered as the highest-ranked group of 5 in the college football playoff rankings, puts them in line perhaps for a Cotton Bowl berth and certainly a discussion. And they're in the AAC title game for the 3rd straight season, lost to UCF each of the last 2, but Brady White, Kenneth Gainwell, and 26-yard gain. And then White to Antonio Gibson. Gibson had 162 total yards, 2 total touchdowns, but a failed 2-point conversion makes it just a 5-point lead. We're in Memphis, and Memphis won that right by beating Cincinnati just last week to get here. And Bearcats maybe a little comfortable. They know the terrain. Desmond Ridder to Rashad Medeiros. and Cincinnati keeping their hopes alive. Memphis fans are nervous, but 4th and 15, Ritter, it's overthrown. And that's how this thing would wrap up. Memphis is your champ. Mike Norvell lifting the trophy. It's his final game for Memphis. He is set to take the Florida State job as we're back out with Paul Feinbaum and Jonathan Vilma. Paul, what do you make of that hire? It's Norvell headed to Tallahassee.
It's a fantastic hire. Everyone wanted Mike Norvell. You just go up and down the openings. Mike Norvell was number one on everyone's list. And good for Florida State, because after going through the end of the Jimbo Fisher era and the unfortunate Willie Taggart era, they needed someone who can come in there and stabilize that program. Jonathan, you played against FSU every year. It's too good a program to be down.
I agree. And the big thing about Norvell is discipline. Right, that's where I talked to a lot of the Florida State alum. Their issues came that there wasn't any discipline being instilled, and he is all about that. It stinks because he's a big splash hire. You just don't hear about him because he's in the AAC, but he's a really good coach.
Does that stink, or the fact that he's going to Florida State? Is that what stinks for a guy with your back?
We'll talk off air about how I feel about that.
I got you. Also in coaching news, it was announced that Ole Miss has officially hired Lane Kiffin. Look, you guys have been covering the game for a really long time.
Yeah.
That was a sigh.
Yeah, tell us how you feel, Paul. Tell us how you feel.
I thought that